you serious? Are you serious, guys? Well, I said I didn't want to come back again until 9:30 unless something else significant happens. And now we're getting the real numbers. It's just been reported, and there's not even one article written about it. The total Americans dead is 10, and that could go up. 10 Marines dead and dozens wounded. I repeat, 10 U.S. Marines dead and dozens wounded. And we've just got some numbers of civilians casualties from these two explosions. 60 civilians dead and over 200 civilians wounded. So right now, the number is somewhere around 70 people dead. 10 of those are U.S. Marines. And about 200, let's say, and 30 people wounded, of which probably 25 or more are Marines. So we don't know how many Marines are wounded. We know that the report is just now leaking from the Pentagon is 10 U.S. soldiers dead and dozens of U.S. Marines. 10 U.S. Marines dead and dozens of Marines wounded. And 60 civilians dead and over 200 civilians wounded. And how many of those civilians are Americans? I don't know. I'm sure that some of those are. And some of those are probably Afghani nationals. And some of them are maybe interpreters. Look, this ISIS, or I don't know, forget the Taliban, hold the Taliban responsible. You had to have intelligence of where to go. This suicide person had to get through the Taliban gates into the airport and directed to the location where they could do the most damage to kill the most U.S. Marines and wound the most Marines. So you cannot play with these people anymore. Okay? You cannot play with this. We can't go fundraising in California. Nancy Pelosi, you can't just vote a little bit on spending $5 trillion of our tax dollars and then run out of town. Everybody runs out of town and leaves Joe in the basement of the White House and expect this thing to work. I'm going to put a shout out right now, noblegoldinvestment.com. I don't even have my microphone on. I'm so frustrated. Could you guys hear me anyway? noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Call Colin today and look at your 401k and just say, hey, have you protected your retirement funds? Or just call Colin Plume at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And let Colin and his staff to help take care of your financial needs. This is really a disaster. Yeah, it's just it's we had an administration that had this thing locked down and beat down. ISIS beat down Afghanistan, hiding in the rocks, the mountains. I mean, we had this thing to where, and then we could have exited in the proper way. And the guy in charge of Taliban is a guy that was once in Gitmo. And we traded 5 guys for Bergdahl. And one of these 5 guys that Obama let out of Gitmo is now the head of the Taliban. It's colossal mistake after colossal mistake. Now there's 10 Marine families that are being contacted this afternoon, being told that their son, their husband, their brother, their uncle is dead, died in the explosion at the Afghan airport trying to get American citizens out with very little help from their government. Dozens of Marines are wounded. We don't know how many of them may die. We don't know how bad some of them are going to be injured. And we don't know how many U.S. citizens died. There's 60 civilians that are dead and over 200 wounded. And then, the Taliban's going door to door. The whole thing is falling apart. The wheels are off. The train's derailed. And there's no plan. You tell me the plan now. See you tonight at 9:30. Pray. Dear Lord, have mercy. We got about 4,000 or 5,000 Americans there. They're in the hands of the Taliban. You thought it was bad when Jimmy Carter was president? We had 51 hostages in Iran. Try 5,100 in Afghanistan under the hands of the Taliban.